Behold my stack of lies. These are all the books I've kept from my high school English class. Most because I read them and they're very good, or I lied about reading them and feel guilty and need to read them eventually. Oh, I love reading. Why do you think I started this channel? You think I'm a hypocrite? A reading hypocrite? No, but I hate people telling me what to read. So most of the times, I just wouldn't. Then I would suffer for it when it would be time to write an essay about it. But I always managed, because I have this strategy when it comes to essay writing. Use big words, confuse them, make them think that you're smarter than them. That way they have to give you an A. It's worked. I'm in college, never gotten a B, C, D, F in anything that involved me having to write. Trust me, I have beat the system. But I think it's time we do look back and see which ones were good, which one I lied about, and yeah, that's basically it. I wouldn't keep any that were meh. But the good place to start memorizing is with Hoot. I've had this book since 6th grade, and I particularly remember this one because it was the first book my class made me read. We had a choice between Hoot and The Giver, and I'm so glad 6th grader me had the sense to choose Hoot over The Giver. I read The Giver this year, and the first book was good. It was fine. But the sequels afterwards, ugh. But Hoot made me laugh. It was just what little 11-year-old Casey needed. And I'm in Florida. This book is set completely in Florida. It's about this boy. His name's Roy, I believe. He moved from Montana. Doesn't really fit in anywhere because these Floridians are so weird. Like, there's this one girl, Beatrice, who has teeth like a Wolverine. She, like, bites into bicycle tires and all that. Those two befriend each other, and Beatrice has this weird, cool, though, runaway brother. Can't remember his name, but the siblings are on a crusade to save these endangered owls from being bulldozed by this pancake company trying to build a new restaurant on they're the burrowing owls, so they dig little dens, little nests. And if the bulldozer come over, they're gonna suffocate the owls, and you're so cute. They recruit Roy, and they just cause all sorts of havoc. And it was a good book. I really liked it. I've reread this book so many times, but it's been a while. And I don't think in class we had to do anything for it. We were just told to read it, and we watched the movie they made of it by the end of the year. And I never got to see the end of that movie because I had safety patrol duties. Never joined safety patrol. You see this pinky? You see how it's bent? Yeah, Safety Patrol. Next we have Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. It took me so long to read this book. I didn't get this for English class. My friend actually gave this to me on one of my birthdays. I remember she put it in a cute little paper bag while we were at a hibachi restaurant. Hi Julie, if you're there. I guess I just put this with it because it's a classic. But I read it last year, took forever, and it's a good story, it's a good classic. But it had this reliable pattern. Good chapter, boring chapter, good chapter, boring chapter, all throughout it. I did love the characters. It was funny. This old book was funny. But sometimes Mr. Dickens just wants to explain everything. We went to this play, I think it was Shakespeare, and we literally just sat in the audience watching this play for a whole chapter, and I was bored. I stopped mid-chapter, came back a while later, opened the book, and someone was talking to a skull, and I'm what the heck is going on? Because I forgot all about it. It's your classic rag to riches story, where a boy, Pip, gets this mysterious benefactor who he never meets. Well, he does, I'm just not going to tell you who it is. And he gets taken from the poor dregs of society into high-class society, where he learns manners and letters. And it turns into a series of very interesting escapades. In the good chapters, though. Next we have up is To Kill a Mockingbird, the book little Casey read 100 pages of, thinking the main character was a dude, but no, it's a girl. I definitely did not finish this one. I have finished it, but during English class, no, I was bored. I got as far as the trial scene, and when all the jurors walked out, then after that, I'm pretty sure I just stopped. However, I have reread it completely, and it's To Kill a Mockingbird. It's good. You should go read it. Fahrenheit 451. I either read this book and zoned out, or I lied about reading it. Because I remember making a valiant effort to read this thing, and I had no idea what was going on. I remember certain bits. The seashells that they used as earbuds in their ears. The dog thing. The hound. Them burning books, basically, that's what the book's about. Someone got ran over by a car. I think someone found a Bible. But no, I basically read this book with static all in my brain. I'm I don't know what's going on, but it's not even 200 pages long. I can take it. Pride and Prejudice. I have never finished this book at all. When I first got this book for English class, so bored. I was complaining about it to my next door neighbor. She said, Casey, I have this friend, and we're actually going to go see her play this Friday. It's Pride and Prejudice. Do you want to come with us? Maybe you'll understand the book more. So I went. I saw the play, and the play was horrible. Those high school kids didn't know how to act, couldn't project their voices. They should have had acting classes from me. Like, I'm the best at it. So then I went up to my friend. I'm like, that didn't help at all. So then we watched the movie. I'm a fan of the movie. Oh my gosh, it was so fun watching it with my friend. We were like at that part where the girl walks into Mr. Darcy's house and we see all that, and we see like just how rich it is, the mansion, the statues. And my friend Julie was like, I bet you like him now that you know he's rich. One day I will read this. I just don't know when it'll be.
Did I blink hard enough to make a breeze?
Because then I'll just probably feel like watching the movie again. Next we have Gifted Hands by Ben Carson. You probably know the name. He ran for president like 4 years ago. My English class didn't make me read this. My chemistry class watched the movie Gifted Hands, and I really liked it. Like, I don't know. It's weird. Like, football movies and doctor movies, things I'm never interested in real life, fascinate me as movies. So I really liked the movie. I bought the movie. Me and my dad watched it. It was really cool. Ben Carson was famous for basically taking out half the brain of someone. I don't know the scientific word for it, but that's like his thing. Oh, and also like separating conjoined twins, I believe, that were like in a really bad location to be joined. So yeah, reading for like the scientific parts. Oh, also, he also talks about his college life and how he hated going to class and he did better just reading the textbooks. And I'm like, I relate, Mr. Carson. We're the same person. So yeah, this is actually like the first autobiography I probably ever read and have read. I don't like autobiographies. And I'll definitely reread this someday because I like it. And I'm sure all of you have heard of this at some point. The Princess Bride. Love this book. This version has like little snippets of the sequel, Buttercup's Baby, but he only wrote like the first 5 chapters. I don't know if he's still working on it. Oh, I just like flipped through the book and it has like the antique Goodwill smell and I hate it. Not a fan. So one thing about this book confused me reading it in middle school, and it confuses me now because I've always been too lazy to look it up, and I'll probably feel dumb by the time I finish filming this. But it says it's S. Morgenstern's classic tale of true love and high adventure, but it says it's by William Goldman. So like on this page, you see this regular font, like that's the story, but here in the italics, this is like some weird interruptions, which I thought was William Goldman just talking about how much this book means to him. Is that part of the story? I don't know, I skipped those parts altogether. And like, sometimes he says how much he cut from the original story. Is that true? Then why'd you cut it? Then I want to read the original story. This book has always confused me. I really need to like figure out what's up with these like author break-in points. Intrusions. Author intrusions. But if you read the book and haven't seen the movie, fix that. If you've seen the movie but haven't read the book, fix that too. If you've seen and read both, you're amazing. A collection of Sherlock Holmes with an introduction by Ian Colfer, which I do believe is the guy who wrote the Artemis Fowl books. Yeah, I definitely haven't read any of this. And I'm kind of surprised that I still have it. I thought I'd lost this book or we donated it. So I'm glad I actually found this again. So we have A Scandal Bohemia, The Red-Headed League, A Case of Identities, The 5 Orange Pips, The Blue Carbuncle, I don't know, The Speckled Band. I remember reading The Speckled Band, so I read one. Can't remember what story we had to read, though. But it's Sherlock Holmes. It's probably good. Frankenstein. Oh yeah, I read this book. It was so nice. I love the monster. You got daddy issues. That's some spicy stuff right there. Go on a revenge spree, murder spree. Victor's a jerk. All he cares about himself. But yeah, I loved it. Prefer this over Dracula any day. Dracula takes so long. Lucy took 100 pages to die. Just saying. A Brave New World. Let me just say, when I read this book, my mama and daddy didn't tell me about the birds and the bees yet. So I need to reread it. But I also had to do like the best group project I've ever had for this book. We had to, what did we have to do? We had to basically make and film a commercial for something offered in this book. And we did like the entertainment, like the golf courses or just whatever they did, the feelies. So basically we had to like advertise this world's fun aspects. So to make this commercial, basically, I got the dream team together. We were allowed to pick our people. So we had my friend Emily, who was like the tech genius. She had the computer, the editing software, the camera. I didn't have anything like that at this point in my life. I don't even think I had a cell phone. We had the cute guy who lived on a golf course that we needed for location. We had another girl who was just like another person I could use because I was the script writer. I was the brains. They were my hands and feet. I was the puppet master. So I wrote the script for it. My friend filmed. We went out on the golf course and filmed it. When I was being the director, I was like, okay guys, we're gonna take this seriously, but we're also gonna be really cheesy with it. Like, we want this to look low budget and hilarious, and it worked out beautifully. At one point, we had to film a guy getting splashed by a bucket of water, and I told my artsy friend, who was also the one in charge of the editing and the filming, to if she could like make, you know, like these little puppet things, like imagine like little cutout of waves, and you have like two sticks and you just move it like that so it looks like the waves are moving kinda. I was like, can you make something like that? And she said sure, so she made it. And so we had the guy like sitting in the chair and we were about to like pour the bucket on him, and I had her like put the waves like right under the camera so you could just see them like right here. And I'm like, higher, higher, higher. She's like this. I'm like, higher, like this. I'm like, perfect. Like, Casey, you can see my hands in the camera shot. And I'm like, yes, that's what we want. Very low budget, very cheesy. People laughed. That's what I wanted. Killer Angels. Something about the Civil War. I stopped reading after like 20 pages because I didn't care. The only thing I remember from this book is some guy complaining that cherries made him poop. Animal Farm. Communism. It's great. I love it. Me and my dad joke that he's Boxer in this story. Just the guy who keeps on working, never cares about how hurt he is when he just needs to take a break. His motto is, I will work harder. He's a boxer. I'm Napoleon. No, I'm not Napoleon. I'm the donkey. The one who just like stares at people in the background, judging them silently, not really offering any like helpful advice. Just making fun of people, poking at them, then calling them stupid when they make the mistake. Othello. Oh, I definitely didn't finish this because I hate reading plays with a passion. However, I do remember skimming, because that's what I do, to just the parts I've read Iago, because I loved Iago. Sneaky little wretch. He's such a bad dude. He told one guy to go drown some puppies. If that doesn't say how evil he is, I don't know what does. In the Time of the Butterflies, I certainly didn't finish it, but I remember so many good parts of it. I think I just wasn't in the mood to read in English class, even though I needed to. But still, I remember it being good, so I do need to finish it, but also because I went on a mission trip to the Dominican Republic, and the butterflies, the four girls who did a lot to change the government in the Dominican, they're everywhere there. There's murals of them, paintings, and that just kind of sold me on, yeah, I need to reread this. And now the last two books are my absolute favorite classics ever. Love them so much. You guys probably know this one. It's called Rebecca. Gothic romance. I'm pretty sure it was the first dedicated romance book I've ever read. And I was obsessed with it. I was always like, okay, Casey, just one more chapter. 5 chapters later. Just one more chapter. 5 chapters later. It was so good. And just like another book, My Perfect Wife, we never know the main character's first name. And she's the main character. So that's rarely done. But it's about this young woman, the nameless protagonist. She's kind of like a maid secretary to this snappy old woman. They go to a hotel, meet this dark, tall, handsome stranger one day. And our girl and this man, Maxim, they just hit it off. And Maxim, he's like, my wife just died, but I like you. Let's do this. Let's do it right now. So they get married. The girl moves into the manor. She sees the ghost of this wife. Not the actual ghost, but just reminders of the wife everywhere. She feels constantly compared to the old wife. There's this maid, Mrs. Danvers, I think, who just torments her in this really manipulative, sneaky manner. And this book is about this girl just trying to claim this house, her new husband as her own, just trying to get rid of all reminders of the old wife, Rebecca. So good. I loved it. Reread is a must. I've already reread this book 3 times. And next we have probably my favorite classic. It's called The Good Earth. It's called The Good Earth. And I've never heard anyone on BookTube talk about this. And I love it. Look at it. It's pretty. This book is a classic rags to riches story about a farmer. Wang Lung. Takes place back in China's industrial age. This character sees a train for the first time and just freaks out. He's never seen anything like that before. And I just honestly love seeing these people's lives. It's a contemporary, basically. And, the atmosphere is so rich. It was literally a piece of China, and I loved it. I remember I had to write a paper about foot binding, because foot binding was in this book. This book's chiefly about the bond of family, and how that bond can, turn into a noose sometimes. Or it could be the rope that pulls you out of a drowning river of your own fault, your own mistakes, especially you, Wang Lung, or whatever your name is. And that guy was dumb most of the time. He didn't know what was good for him. He didn't know the good wife he had. And this book is all about cycles, too. You see it. You'll see it when you read it. How easy it is to commit one man's mistake the day after you, chastised him for it. And that is everything I've read because of school, basically. There's 2 other books, though. Murder on the Orient Express, which was a library book. I remember that one because funny things happened when I was reading it. First, I pronounced the main character, the detective's name, as Poirot instead of Poirot, because I don't know French or Belgium. But eventually reading this book led to me and my friend Julie reading the really good TV show Poirot, which I loved, especially his cute little mustache. But I remember when I was reading this book, I was getting to a really tense part, we were about to learn who the murderer was. And so Poirot was just pacing, his voice was getting lower and lower, and I was laying on my bed early in the morning. My grandma was staying with us at the time because she broke her arm, and so she was asleep in the living room, and I'm just getting absorbed into this book, and I'm my heart is getting starting to beat. Just when the tense moment was getting to its tensest point, I hear the loudest snore in existence, and it freaked me out. That scared me. Just a snore out of nowhere scared me. I threw the book up and I was like, ah! And another book I had to read in English class was this Christian book called The Robe. Now, Bible study time. So Jesus one day was walking down a road, and this old lady, who had been suffering with this problem of really bad blood, that's what it says, I think. For 12 years, nothing has worked. She spent all her money on cures. She's hopeless. But she hears that Jesus is walking down the road, and she is if I can just touch the edge of his robe, I know I'll be healed. So she's literally crawling out of her house. That's how much she hurts. She manages to get through the crowd of people, just trying to say hi to Jesus. She touches the robe, and she's healed like that. And Jesus who touched me? So basically, this book, The Robe, takes place right at the crucifixion. Because also in the Bible, when Jesus was nailed on the cross, they took off his robes, same robe that lady touched, ripped them up, and gambled over them. Kind of like souvenirs. So this book, The Robe, is about what happened to the guy who won the robe in the contest, the gambling. Kind of exploring if Jesus' robe, because it was on him all the time, had healing powers. It was interesting. There was a movie made about it in the 60s, I think. I didn't go past page 30 because another book had just came out when I was reading it, and I refused to read anything else. So yeah, I didn't make much progress, even though it was good. But then essay day came, and I got my assignment, and we had 50 minutes to write it. And the prompt was, name and discuss 3 miracles that happened in the book. I hadn't gotten to any of the miracles. That's how early I skipped out of the book. I had to make up stuff. I was let us not consider the miracles, the conventional miracles of our friend the robe. Instead, let us focus upon the miracles of the people, of how a nice friend of our main character, Bob, can change his entire life.
Let us focus on the miracle of Demetrius, his handy friend.
I was making stuff up as I went right now. I got an A. Big words. Wow them. And those are the books I was forced to read. Sometimes I was happy. Sometimes I just wasn't playing their game. Cause the man can't control me. Tell me the best book English class or school in general made you read. Because mine, definitely The Good Earth, Rebecca, and Princess Bride. Love all of those. Stay ready, my friends.